Hello, everyone. We should be live now. If I'm live, let me know in the comments and anything. See if anyone's actually there and watching. Right. If anybody is watching tonight, there's going to be not special, but this is going to be me and Paul retro bait or retro B8 as Lee. What's he call him? Retro Chef. But yeah, sorry, Lee. I forgot your channel then for a minute. Yeah. We're going to be talking about failed consoles today and just why both Paul and me spend money and collect completely obsolete failed systems, because we just, I don't know, I don't know, is it morbid fascination? Is it nostalgia? I mean, I know a couple of mine are nostalgia, but I don't know about Paul's. So without further ado, let's get Paul on. You're up, Paul.
Hello, Simon. How are you doing?
I cannot believe I forgot Retro Chef's name. I just heard, and in my head I went, Chef what?
Yeah, a lot of people have, yeah, it's retro bait. Like, not, well, I mean, it can be retro bait. You know, I've been called a lot worse, so.
Haven't we all? So, now to the 4 people that are watching us.
Hello to you 4 people.
Hang on a second. We have Retro Chefs in.
Of course.
Nerdy Geezer. How you doing, guys?
Oh, hello, mate.
I mean, hopefully we'll get a few more people on, but if not, if it's just me and you showing off completely obsolete fail systems, then
I don't know about showing off. I ain't got much of you.
What do you mean not showing off? I've seen what you got behind you. But anyway, so how are you anyway?
Yeah, it's been well. I mean, can I just say congratulations first for being nominated for YouTuber of the Month?
And shall I just say it back to you as well? Congratulations, guys! Anyone who hasn't actually voted yet, get over to Sega Zombies channel. Give his video a thumbs up and everything else. Check out the channels and vote. It doesn't matter who you vote for. Just get behind someone. Give them a thumbs up. Give them a like.
Yeah, totally.
So some of them are sitting around just over the 100 sub mark. I mean, it makes a hell of a difference to the lower channels. I mean, I'm not even a high channel. What am I, 240 subs or something like that now? So I never thought that many people would sub to me rambling at a screen.
Well, that's me and you both, mate. I mean, if someone had said to me in May, like
Retro Bears in,
you know, I'd have been nominated along with you guys. Well, I still can't believe it now. I really can't.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, why did you actually start your channel? What was the inspiration behind you doing that?
So I think, like a lot of people who started at the same time,
yeah,
I got furloughed from work, and I wasn't allowed to go fishing. I can't go to the rugby or anything like that. So I'd already built a shed, and I'd put in like the Commodore 64s, and I'd bought a Specky and that, and a few consoles. And then, do you know, like I used to spend about 70% of my time watching YouTube videos. I used to watch Mr. Bad's Gaming, Sega Zombie. Like, I searched for Hit Squads, because Hit Squads was like what was interesting at the time. I just finished me the Commodore 64 collection, and I wanted to find out about Spectrum, Amstrad, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started looking. And
when did you actually complete your Hit Squad set for the C64?
1 year and 2 weeks ago. Now, I'm not sad.
You know what? You've got in there before the prices went sky high.
Yes, yes, I did. Well, like it was just.
Or these Slasher Gamers in?
Pure luck. With the Hit Squads, I'd been going maybe about a year and a half, and I got super lucky. I started speaking to a guy on one of the selling sites, and it turned out that he'd emigrated to Canada, and he basically had everyone I needed. There was about probably about 8 of the hard ones to get, and there was one that was super hard. And if I got them, then I'd only have one more to go for the full set, which was Hook. And I managed to speak to him without anybody.
Are you going to tell me now how much did you pay for Hook? about a year and a half ago?
I think about £100. About £100.
Okay, so you still had to pay up for it, but I mean, now if you try to get one, what's it go for now?
But I mean, that was the last one that I needed.
Yeah.
And
I must admit, people
come from
seem to
Denmark.
spend a bit more, don't they, when it's the last one to complete the set?
At the minute, well, I mean, when you look at what happened a few months ago, and I know I know one of the guys who was in the bidding war, and you had Hook, WrestleMania, the WWF European, and Lethal Weapon, which is obviously that's the Poison Chalice. That's the one everyone wants. And they're three of the hardest ones, and that went for over £1,600 for them 3 tapes. And I mean,
I don't want to swear, but when you hear numbers like that for tape games, it's just.
That's when I realised
a couple of cars for that. Anyway,
honestly,
what are you drinking anyway? Because I've been sitting here and I've not opened a beer yet.
Well, I've been here for about an hour.
Okay, so how many bottles of wine are you down?
No, but for you guys who watch the channel, you'll remember that I do drink red wine by the pint. So it looks like a pint glass, just a really nice one.
It's a fancy one. I have Milk Foley, one of these random weird ales. I was saving this from yesterday. If you look at there, strawberries and cream. So this is going to be really nice.
That's going to be Mick Foley, is it? The wrestler?
Yes, it's supposed to be. If you see like the pads and everything else. So this is one for Eddie. So he wanted to know actually how this was. So
hi, Feed Me Chicken. Thanks for the sub, mate. I had a bit crack with him yesterday.
Once I poured this, took a sip and told you if it's disgusting or not, we'll go down the comments and then we'll get on to what we're actually here for. I mean, doesn't look too bad.
It looks all right.
But, you know, I apologise now for the people who are expecting me to have a banana bread beer. It's raining and I didn't get to the shop.
In case you got your hair wet. Seriously.
Well, no, I get my hair wet. I just couldn't be bothered going out. So, anyway.
Yeah, happy Sunday.
You too. I think there's a word for this, and it's interesting. We know what interesting means. Right.
It means it doesn't matter as long as it gets you there.
Yeah. Right. Let's have a quick look down the comments then. As I said, we've got Retro Chef in. We've got Nerdy Geezer. How you doing, guys? Retro Bear.
Evening.
Brightside. That's my mate. I think is it Adam? Adam. Yeah, it's definitely him. And Pod. He's back. Pod. Paul wanted to know whether that was actually your hair last time you were on a stream with me, or it was an actual.
Yeah, that's right. Me and my
I
wife,
told him more than anything. So.
We did have quite a long discussion. We were watching obviously the whole thing, and
big game out.
I went for a bandana with real hair, and I think she went for a cap with like dreads in it.
No, he's bald and he's wearing a hat. Gordy Slash Gamer, Feed Me Chicken is in. And we've already seen him in. All right, guys.
Good to see you, lads.
And we else got down here. That's just people talking among themselves a bit. Raz is in.
Raz Tendo. Hello.
You know Raz. Right. Let's get on with some questions.
Within the last.
As I say, I can never keep up with that. So let's start off with a hard one. And when I say hard, it probably isn't going to be hard because I can see the T-shirt you're wearing. Spectrum or Commodore 64?
Well, it used to be an easy question. It used to be an easy question, but over the last year, I have become extremely attached to me. Spectrum. I've got a Spectrum 48K. I've got a ZX plus 2B, which is the black one. Yeah, the plus 3 is the disk drive one. Well, so it's the plus 2. Plus 2B, I think it is, isn't it? That's the black one with the tape drive. And then obviously that fantastic piece of machinery that you sent, which is that the plus? Just the 48K plus. 48K plus, which that's the one just before the toast rack. Well, that was the deal that we done on the swap shop. So yeah, really happy to have been on there. Is on board the hat, dreads,
So your wife was right. So
what's new? What's new?
right. Anyway, go back to that question for me. I mean, what I'd like to say it could be Commodore 64, but for me, the actual the Spectrum is what I've actually grew up with. Excuse me.
It's a no-brainer.
I always remember my dad always had the ZX81, and then he had a Plus, which this is the one that you've got now, not the actual one, but and then we went from that to the Amiga. So it was a bit of a jump. But the thing is in our house is because I've got 5 brothers. I've got 5 brothers. Everything was like we bought it and we kept it. You know what I mean? We never actually sold things off. But in between there, and this is a nice little segue. So for me, Spectrum, we got the first file system that I'm going to talk about, which I can see right behind your head, which is the GX4000. So, are you able to bring that box down to show it off? Or is
it is all the way up here, but I'll see what I can do. No, I think for me, it was obviously the Commodore 64 because that's nostalgia. And like you can never get rid of a nostalgia, which is for you with this.
Yeah, I mean, nostalgia for me. I think you know the story of why I really like the GX4000 is we, as I said, that's what we're allowed to have. We couldn't buy a new system, but there's a place if you're from the Midlands area called Hooties, and they used to sell off things which were like the end of line because the GX4000 only sold was 15,000 copies, something like that. It was on the shelf for a couple of months and completely gone.
18 to 20, something like that, wasn't it? But yeah,
was it something like that?
Not many.
But the place that we used to go to called Hooties used to buy liquidated stock and sell them off in their store. So for one Christmas, my granddad bought us one of them and a couple of games. And it was our first ever console that we had that had cartridges. Everything before then was we had to sit and wait for a tape to load, or we had to sit and wait for the Amiga to load. So to actually have a system, we put it in. Look, here's the thing though, right? I never played a Commodore 64 till about 3 years ago. Never played one. Never had one. Never knew anybody with one. I went into a shop and he had 2 broken ones. I managed to pick them both up for like 20 quid. And with the parts from the 2, managed to get working, and that was my first ever experience about 3 years ago with any Commodore 64.
Wow!
So that's me. I was always Spectrum. So
what did you think about the SID chip? What were you thinking about the SID chip?
Do you know what? The sound is absolutely amazing, but I struggle, and I think I'm actually quite grateful that I didn't have that because I'm being colourblind. Some of the games, the colour palette blurs.
Out of the 3, the colour palette on the Commodore 64 is the most bland. When I look at the back of a game, I always see the Amstrad, which is the most colourful. Then you see the Spectrum, which is like, and then you see the Commodore 64, which is the colour.
Guys, you got any comments? Put them in the comment. Any questions? Put them in the comments. Let me know. Right. Going back to the whole colourblind thing, whatever. Do you know we actually had my cousin had a CPC, and it wasn't again until a couple of years ago that I ever played it with a colour monitor. I always played it with a green screen, and that's what I always thought the Amstrad was. Same. And when I finally saw the Amstrad in all its colour, I was like, bloody hell.
You were seriously missing out as well.
Yeah,
seriously.
I
when I was a kid, I had 2 friends who they both had green screen monitors, and like we used to always go around each other's houses so we could like try games on each other's computer because I had a Commodore 64. A couple of me mates had Amstrads. A couple of me mates had Spectrums.
This is going to annoy Lee here. Well, it's not a question, but somebody says, "I hope you played Last Ninja on the Commodore 64." I don't like it. I knew you were going to do that. I just can't get on with the angles of it. I appreciate the music. I appreciate everything else, but I can't get past like the first level. I'll just give up and turn it off.
It is solid.
Yeah.
Honestly, if that's the issue, play a version with a trainer. I know it's cheating, etc., but it's worth like going through the game to see what they've done with it, to see what they could do on an 8-bit system, isometric like that, and the music is just it's super. Play with the trainer. It's definitely worth a playthrough. It is just.
You know, I just don't think it's the way you kill people on it as well, where the energy just goes down and down and down, and if you don't hit it right, it comes all the way back up again. So
anyway. They always come back anyway. Like they always come back, which is.
Let's have a look at that GX4000.
Right. So, well, here we
Right,
go.
because this one thing I really like about the GX4000 is the design of it is so futuristic. For you those
I
who don't know what the
absolutely love it.
GX4000 is, it was a file system by Amstrad. What was it, about 33 games for it? Something like that?
I've got a cartridge with 32. But
32.
There's a
Yeah,
few.
there's
Like,
some homebrews. There's the Gaza 2.
Yeah, there's like certain ones. Was it TSHQ2?
Which has not surfaced yet, though, has it, that one?
No, but I think
Two people have a copy.
Gaza did though, didn't it? Or one of them did, and I think it went for about $2,000 on eBay. Yeah. But I've never seen anything about it since. But yeah, I always think this machine looks like a snow speeder from Star Wars.
Do you know what?
I just love the design.
I once had them, and it was completely gutted. I mean, there was nothing inside it. And if you look at it around the ports and all the rest of it, it makes an absolute perfect Raspberry Pi case. It just does. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
you don't need to cut anything. It's got everything
you've got plenty.
So many ports.
Yeah, but for me, the first thing I noticed was this.
Yeah.
I was
move it across to the power side now. Yeah, move it across to where the powers are. Right. This is what killed the majority of these. It wasn't just the PSU being faulty because adding sugar is cheap. It also has two power inputs. One was for the monitor. One was for the plug. If you got them around the way, you could blow the system very easily.
And you know, I've tried it on my monitor, on my Amstrad monitor. Didn't work.
No.
But yeah, I mean, look, this is where the original PSU should always stay.
It can stay in that box and never take it.
Stays in that box, and instead, I use this one like a modern day equivalent.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna have a quick comments. What we got. So your history with that. Why did you get a Amstrad GX4000? Is it purely looks? Do you have nostalgia for it?
For me, because I knew nothing about it, and it just interests me. For some reason, when there's a system that's failed dramatically, I want to try it for myself to find out. Well, should it have? Or was it just like was it for me? It was launched at the wrong time. Obviously, it was launched.
Before we move on to the next system, I would point. Do you know the packing game that came with that, the burning rubber, right? Yeah, I have actually get a box made up for it, which has got all the artwork and everything off the game.
Looks good.
And the actual manual. And dropping things on the floor again. Hang on. I forgot how these things open. 1 second. I just have to kick that. Right. This is actually my copy here, my original copy. As you can see, it's completely manky. And this is the game, the actual cartridge that I put all the hours into as a kid. And this is why I love the GX4000.
It's a good game. It's a good race.
It really is.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a great game to have in it. I enjoy it anyway. But yeah, the reason I bought it was I'd literally never heard of it. And I come across it. Someone was selling one on Facebook for quite a cheap price. And I wanted to play it. And I love 8-bit systems and I enjoyed it. But as I say, if it was released 3 years earlier, then I think it would have been a decent console.
Right.
It was just released at the wrong time.
Look down some of the comments here at a second.
Well, I was just going to answer Lee there. I've never actually played Hawkeye.
Have you not?
I love
Raz says the music on Ninja 2 was insane. But that's what will probably lead into what's your favourite music, because I know that's yours. What is your favourite music on a game?
For me, the music in games is what drives my nostalgia. Like my nostalgia is hugely linked to music in games, and I think that's because I had a Commodore 64, and I think we did get spoiled for choice. Yeah. But for me, there's only one master, and it's Rob Hubbard, and it's got to be Commando. It's just I love
Commodore 64 Commando.
Yeah, I mean it's the intro theme to my videos.
Right, for me, I've got a couple that really always stick in my head, and the one is Lotus Turbo 2 on the Amiga. The second I turned that back on and I heard that music start, I was took right back to being a kid. And the other one
helps with nostalgia.
Yeah, and the other one is Space Harrier, but on the Amstrad CPC. Only the Amstrad CPC music. It's honestly, again, it's like a time machine, takes me right back. So Yeah, that's it. Right, there was a couple of questions. Lee put some questions here. Questions for both. Favourite 8-bit game? Do you want to come back to that one?
Well, if we're talking about all games on
all
all
games, all 8
systems,
bits,
like even new stuff, I'm going to have to go with Sam's Journey on the Commodore 64.
Sam's Journey.
It's probably only about 3 years old. It's just amazing. It's a little bit like Mayhem in Monsterland, but even better. It is honestly, if you've got a Commodore 64, look for Sam's Journey. I mean, you can get a copy direct. I think they all come from Germany, and I think they're about 40 quid. But honestly, you will not play a better game on the Commodore 64. As in rounded, graphics are amazing, playability is superb. The sound is quality. You can save your game. It's a cartridge game, so you're straight in.
Yeah.
For me, it's everything. Definitely.
The weird thing is, me for 8-bit games, it's really hard for me to actually remember a lot of the games we used to play on the Amiga. But 3D Monster Maze is always going to be one of my favourites. Just keep dropping everything. All my phone's just gone now. 3D Monster Maze on the ZX81, because for as basic as it is, it's really engaging. You know what I mean? I think if it had sound and had anything else, it would really put it off, because they remade it for the Spectrum and they had sound of him chasing you. But when you can read it and you can't hear nothing and you just walk around, all of a sudden it's there right in front of your face. I mean, 3D Monster Maze, I think, was just groundbreaking for what it was.
Like, I think if you were to rephrase the question and ask like original games, like, you know, in the 80s and 90s, that would be, oh my god. Like, it changes all the time. I done a video not so long back about my most nostalgic Commodore 64 games. Commando was top due to the music, not the actual game itself, because it's glitchy. It's not amazing. Then you've got Impossible Mission, which I just loved. It was the first time I ever heard computer speech in a game. And then you've got Turrican and Turrican 2. I mean,
with the intro for my music now is just a small clip of Cybernoid 2.
Is that what it was?
1.
Yeah. I've been trying to guess that for ages. Like.
Cybernoid 1.
Have you ever pulled up on it?
What's your favourite publisher, or should we just skip over that one? Because I wouldn't know. I mean, actually, Ocean. I'd have to say Ocean for me.
Ocean,
just purely because of like games like Worms and stuff like that. No, that's not.
That's Team 17. I
was about to say that's Team 17. Who was I thinking of Ocean? You know me. I think one thing, my brain says something else, and then I forget what I was supposed to have been saying.
Well, as you know, I'm a huge Hit Squad collector. I couldn't be a Hit Squad collector and not say Ocean, because at the end of the day, Hit Squad is Ocean's budget label. Yeah. So I've got to say Ocean. But after that, like moving forward, I would say the Amiga, and even after that as well, Psygnosis. I enjoyed them. I enjoyed a lot of their games. I thought they were outside the box.
Quick question. Here's from. Can you say his name there? Because I can never pronounce it.
Buzzaby?
Is it actually? Yeah. Quick question from him. He's favourite Spectrum. And to me, it has to be the grey Spectrum Plus 2. Just because it's the all-inclusive package, it really is. It made it so much easier to use.
Now, I had that one, and I sold it, and I bought the black version. Is it the Plus 2B? Yeah,
that's the next one along.
Just because it was black. I know it's got more incompatibility issues and stuff like that. Yeah. But like a lot of the games I play from them, is it the Div MMC? You know, the thing that plugs into the back.
Mr. Bad's Games says Ocean published Worms.
There you go. Well, if anyone's going to know, Paul's going to know, because
I must admit though, Worms as a game though, Worms was amazing to begin with, has been amazing on every system. A little bit ropey in the 3D era, but it's still a classic game.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're going to play a 3D Worms,
it was better in 2D.
Yeah, if you're going to play a 3D Worms, play Hogs of War, just purely for Rick Mail.
Oh yeah, because he does all the voices, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's actually, when you look at PlayStation 1 games, I mean, some of them have aged absolutely horrendous, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But that's one of the few games I can get away with.
Right, I'm going to move this on now back to what we're supposed to be talking about, and failed systems, and I'm going to show off one here.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to show off one here there that I think some people may know, but also might not be as common as most. And that is, I absolutely love the Coleco Gemini, which looks like a really random, just like generic box. But what I like about this is not only was it completely failed, so when Coleco came out with their attachment that they can put in the front of their Intellivision, ColecoVision, get it right, to play Atari games, Atari took them to court. But
yes, I've seen it. Scott done a video about this.
But Atari lost. So they came out with the Coleco Gemini. It was only sold in Canada for a really short period of time and mail order in America right before the game crash. And one of the remember where the thing is the pad. If you can see there, it's actually got the joystick up here at the top, which is better than the Atari joystick, and the paddle down the back. So I think that's why it's called the Gemini, because it's got a dual pad. It's a shame that it failed, but the equivalent of this now is PlayStation bringing out attachment for the PlayStation 5 that lets you play Xbox games. You know what I mean? There'll be lawsuits.
Well, just while you mentioned PlayStation 5,
yeah,
are you going to even bother getting one, or
I've only just got a PlayStation 4.
The Xbox. Yeah,
I've only just got a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox. We got them during the first lockdown.
I've got
so I will get a PlayStation 5 when the PlayStation 6 comes out.
You know, at the minute we got a Switch for Christmas, and I wanted it purely for the back catalogue, the NES and the SNES games, and it's the first time I've ever had a current generation Nintendo ever. I've always had a PlayStation on release, and this is the first time I've not bothered.
Do you know what? When I did the video podcast, why didn't I use that before? I did a podcast with Pod, and I didn't even twig it until afterwards that I could do something like that in the name of the title. But yeah, he said, and he's been day one, always had a PlayStation, and now he's just not bothering. So
no, for me,
I don't think it's worth it.
I use it for VR. I absolutely love VR. So I'm happy with the PS4 because I get me VR kicks. And I know you've got the Oculus, and I really wanted one, but it was a choice. It came down to a choice between the Oculus.
Are we moving on to the next one? Yeah. So how many, because we were having this discussion earlier, people in the comments, let me know, was the Vectrex a failed system? Because I think it was. I don't think it was on the market very long, was it?
It pains me to think that it is a failed system, because since I got it at Christmas, I absolutely love the Vectrex.
The homebrew scene on the Vectrex now.
Oh,
yeah. Honestly, the homebrew scene, the joysticks they make, the overlays, the new games, everything for that is mind blowing. Have you got an anti-buzz in yours, or have you not sorted that out yet?
No, and you know what? I won't. I like it the way
it is. Because I think it's part of the charm of it, to be honest.
Exactly. There is one thing I was talking to Dainster before, and it's the ultraviolet that you can mod it.
Yeah,
but it's it's not a hard mod. Like, it can be removed, or do you know what I mean? And I've seen a couple of videos that he sent us links for, and wow, it just blew my mind. If you can believe that is from 1983, 1982 hardware. I mean, for me, that was released at the same time as the Commodore 64, around about, and it's just so far ahead. I just don't know how it didn't take off. It's got to be the price.
A lot of them like that. I mean, like systems like the Apple Pippin and stuff like that, they failed just because of the price point. So yeah, I mean, some things were just way too expensive at the time. But I think the selling point for the Vectrex was great. It's the fact that at the time people didn't have multiple TVs in their house. So to have your own dedicated TV just for your game system, I think was quite revolutionary. So.
Well, that's what Alan Sugar was trying to do with the CP464, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was his selling point.
That's really, really annoying. It's like you can't test them without the monitor unless you've actually got a proper power supply for them. Anyway, let's have a look. There was a couple of questions here. One from Pod. It says, trapped on an island with a console. Games for you read that for me.
Trapped on an island, what console with games would you have, like, until you got rescued? If you did. For me, it's
See, the weird thing is, I've got a question like that in my banner, but yeah, carry on.
well, I know that was one of like what I was
Yeah.
thinking about. For me, it's got to be the PlayStation 2. I mean, the catalogue of games that you've got for the PlayStation 2. Oh my God, my cat wants to be out, and I'm in here with you one. The PlayStation 2 has the biggest catalogue of games, and at the minute I'm actually playing. I set up the PlayStation 2 with my son. We've been playing Lego Batman, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Star Wars, and you know what? Even though, I mean, how old is that thing? Like what, 15, 16 years old, something like that. I think the last game
In the comments,
in,
how old's the PlayStation 2?
I think the last game came out in like, was it 2011, 2012?
It's all. It was a football game, wasn't it? Was it a PES or a FIFA game? I think it's
Probably a FIFA or
2014.
something like. But honestly, I have thoroughly enjoyed playing the PlayStation 2. Like for a game like Lego, the graphics are as good as what they need to be, and so for me, it's a PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you'd
plus
never be
it's
stuck for a game.
backwards compatible as well. You can play your PlayStation 1s.
Which means I can play Resident
Nick Gamel
Evil.
says it was FIFA 14 was the last game
14. On it. How about you, Sam?
For me, it can only be one. It's got to be the GameCube, just because it's my system of choice. It really is. I love the exclusive games in it. I could just play Mario Kart and SSX and stuff like that forever.
See, for me, it's difficult having nostalgia for like. I was well. In fact, I basically bypassed the whole console scene. I had my Amiga 1200, and then I went to PlayStation 1. I missed out on Atari, on Nintendo versus Sega.
I did. The weird thing is, I did not. I think I knew one person who had a Super Nintendo, and I think my cousin had a Master System. But I did the same. We went in straight from the Spectrum Plus 48K to the Amiga 600. I just completely missed out everything in between there.
Yeah, same. So, but the good thing about now is I can go back and I'm playing games that I've never even heard of.
Yeah, that's always good. Pod's saying 1998 he thinks the PlayStation 2 came out.
I don't know. I thought it was like 2001.
Oh, hang on.
I'm not sure.
Last PlayStation 2 game was not FIFA 14. Was it the PES game? Because I know there was another football game. And I think there's a dispute over like which one came out last. So,
well, either way,
if
it was a choice, I would be playing Pro Evo. I did prefer that back on the PS2 to FIFA.
We have a question here. What are your thoughts on the C64 Mini Maxi and the VIC-20? Would you get one?
I've got one. I've got both.
You've got one.
I haven't got the VIC-20. I just didn't see
the weird thing is with that is like I think
you can put the VIC-20 mode on the Maxi.
Yes.
So
I think all they did was change the color.
Looks nice though. Looks nice. But my thoughts are the Mini's good. Obviously, if
2000 and 1999. I'm not exactly sure when the PlayStation came out.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. A lot of people bought because they had a Blu-ray player.
Yes.
I know I did. So do you know what I mean? But getting back to the Maxi, the Maxi is 100 times better than what the Mini was, simply because you've got a keyboard that you can use. You know, I mean, you can plug another keyboard into the Mini and like a USB, I think. But I mean, who wants to do that? You know, for me, the Maxi can do everything that you want, and it's HDMI. It's easy.
Got another question here. Can you read this one out for me? Because you know I won't be able to.
Have you got that Commodore 64 console? A console so bad it made the. Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I've got that.
Should we go there now?
Yeah.
Go on.
So,
show us your pride and joy.
I think Addy Sneaker Freak. I think he's on about this piece of machinery here.
Yep. Here comes the box.
It's not an original box. It is a reproduction box. I am. Ones with a box go for like 700-800, a lot of money.
Okay,
I just
upset everyone in the comments then and explain the story behind you getting this Commodore 64 GS.
Well, I'll get it out while I'm explaining. So basically, about 2 years ago when I started, 3 years ago when I started getting into like learning more about the system, how to repair it. I was buying in a lot of knackered systems, so I could like strip them for parts, cannibalize them, put them together. I did. And I come across a Commodore 64 that was advertised in Spain. I think it was 69.99 plus like 12 quid
I'll
postage.
give you full screen. Hang on. Can I do this?
Dear God.
I'm trying to give you full screen.
It's fine, honestly. So what happened was there was a Commodore 64 came up. It was like 60 quid, and there was no photos. So like I went to have a look at the description, and I just kept clicking through the photos because it looked like someone had uploaded them, but like they hadn't uploaded right. So it was just like a grey screen. When I got to picture 9 and 10, immediately I realised it was a Commodore 64 GS. And it was advertised as a Commodore 64.
Did your heart stop a little bit?
It did, and I know for a fact people lazy. They probably couldn't be arsed going to the end photos, and immediately I bid on it. And then it was like it had like a week to go, and my arse was nipping for a full week. And yeah, I got it for like $79.99, including postage. There was a little bit of damage. The flaps. Obviously, it's a top loader cartridge. The flaps were missing.
Yeah, right.
And I thought, well, I can try and print some off, 3D print and all that. Seemed to be coming along really well. And it turned out when it came, it was rattling like hell. And I was like, oh my God, this thing's going to be absolutely shagged inside. But it turned out that what was rattling around was the flaps. And they were both there.
You know what the weird thing about that, though? It's like it doesn't even look nice, does it? You can't say that it's a nice looking console. It's supposed to be a console. That's the thing. Is it supposed to be a console?
The only way you would buy this is if you really like your Commodores, and yeah, if you look on the side,
that's really weird.
Identical.
The power socket looks like it's got a piece of plastic missing. Is that how it's supposed to be?
That's exactly how. That is exactly the same as a Commodore 64.
Wow.
Exactly
okay, how many of them were actually sold then? You got the numbers.
Less than 2,000.
Less than 2,000 of them were sold.
But I think they made about 10,000.
Yeah.
But they ended up taking them back and stripping them down and putting them into Commodore 64.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? That's why you're not going to get a big warehouse full of unsold ones, are you?
No, because Commodore, they would use everything. So there's a good chance that if you've got a Commodore 64C, it used to be a Commodore 64 GS.
That's the thing, though, with the GX 4000. The GX 4000 actually had somebody find a load of them in a warehouse, didn't they? And a couple of years ago, they were selling them off brand new. So
I think that's where mine come from, actually. A lot of people know Lethal only from Facebook, and yeah, like he used to come across a lot of stuff like that, I don't know who he knows when it comes to warehouses.
There's always people that saying that there was somebody on a CRT group the other day, and he found this this lockup, and it must have had about 40 to 50 Acorn electrons in it.
It's something I've never had. I really want one as well. I really want an Electron. Well, I want an Atari 800 and I want a BBC.
I would
simply because I've got some Hit Squad games, and I've got no way of playing them. And like eventually, when I eventually get around to doing it, and I do go through all the games on all the systems, I need one to.
If you're going for an Atari though, the Atari ones, I would go for the 400 just for how good it looks. Because I've got an Atari 400. We're going on the Atari then, anyway.
Let's have a look, because I was in when you showed me when I asked you the photo before. I was like, what even is that? Like,
right, hang on.
My Atari knowledge is very, very limited. Like, I knew there was the 512 and the 1020 or 1040 or something like that.
The weird thing is it's all numbers, and it's like the majority of them, like the 400 and 800, they're both the same. They're exactly the same. Right, this is the equivalent of Atari doing the same as the Commodore 64 and the Amstrad, where they were trying to recycle their computer into a console, but too late to the market. And that is the Atari EXGS or something like that. I always get them around the wrong way.
That actually looks pretty decent. So
it looks nice, but if you look at it, everything. Why does everything have to be on an angle? You know what I mean? The cartridge port is an angle.
Because it was the 80s.
The ports down the side. Look, Atari like to make it as difficult as possible for you to put any kind of peripheral in, because I mean, even if you had, which one am I thinking of now? The Atari STE. Have you tried to put the joystick ports in them? It's
No.
underneath and under the system. So you have to lift it up,
Oh
put your ports in down here, and then put it back down again.
So if you're in port 1 and like as a lot of games, I don't know if you know, but the reason why a lot of Commodore games is port 2 is because port 1, some of the controls actually double up with the keyboard. So
yeah,
they make it port 2.
Going on to keyboards, this also comes with a keyboard because that was advertised as the system you can also turn into the computer. Right.
But what happens if you play the game and you're in the wrong port? You've got to lift the whole thing up to change the.
All I'm going to say though is, if you have ever experienced one of these, this is the worst keyboard I've ever experienced in my life, and that includes the Spectrum rubber keys. It is absolutely terrible.
I mean, that is saying something there, but
it's hard to push down and spongy at the same time. It's like you have to actually feel it. There's no way you could type on it. They really, really like their pastel colours as well. I mean, baby pastel colours down there.
I tell you what, whoever designed the bread bin, the original Commodore 64, was not thinking of people who were inputting data. They weren't thinking of them because it's not a comfortable keyboard to use. The 64C is a lot better. It's a lot lower down. It's
the weird
so
thing
much easier.
I game on them, but I've never experienced like people coding and stuff on things. I mean, I can imagine how hard it would have been for people with the ZX81 coding on that membrane keyboard.
Well, a lot of people didn't. They used to code on something else.
And port it across.
Yeah, and then they supported because
I'm just sure the ones at home that
used to be able to save it as well.
Yeah. I mean, if I remember rightly, can't remember who it was, but they said they programmed everything on the Amstrad CPC and then ported it across to other things because they said the CPC one was better. So
it was one of the guys who was like, oh my god, that's good. That's gonna destroy me, guys. You know in the comments because I watched a Kim Justice video about the actual guy and what he used to do.
How you doing? There's Retro Bear saying the joystick ports on the.
I've never had an Atari ST. I've always wanted one. I've been so tempted, but then I think, is there any point? I'm not going to have nostalgia for it. The games are going to be. If you ever get
one, make sure whoever sent it to you in the post wraps it well because they're so brittle. They are the one I got. The guy handed it to me in the box, and you know when someone hands you the box and it rattles. And it was like, oh no. The guy who packed it in a box that was too small. The system of an angle and the power supply was underneath it. So when he's dropped
PSU every time. Honestly, it makes it much more of a shame when you think this thing's lasted 30 years.
Yeah, and then died.
You had one job and you couldn't do it. But saying that, I've been on the other side of the coin. I've repaired a few 1701, 1702 Commodore 64 monitors or Commodore monitors, and I sent one to Finland, and I packed it as best as humanly possible. And by the time I got there, the front end where the power switch was absolutely knackered. And then I sent a Commodore. It was a 128, and I think I sent that to the Isle of Man or the Isle of Wight. I can't remember which one it was.
Not far.
And I honestly, it was rolled in like bubble wrap in a box that was far too big for it, but it wasn't rattling around. And when it got there, it was just smashed to shit. To be fair, the lad who bought it, he did repair it, and like you could see that I'd packed it well. But sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you try.
Got a big question for you now. Big question: have you heard of Planet Retro?
It rings a bell, but off the top of my head,
it's big game out.
What?
That gets asked on every single one. I had to put that up.
Why? So what is this? What it used to be called before?
I think so. Al, if you're still there in the comments, he hasn't heard of you. So
I still can't believe I was reading some of the WhatsApp before, and I can't believe some of the games that he hasn't played. Like Jet Set Willy, was it?
Yeah. But that's the thing is people are generation thing. You know what I mean?
I know.
There's a lot of people you can speak to now. They're like, you used to play. This is actually quite a good little segue then because the questions just come up. Do you use joystick or keyboard for playing your games?
Good question. If it's 8-bit and it's like a Commodore Spectrum or an Amstrad game, I've actually modified a NES controller because over the years I've become more accustomed to using a joypad, with the PlayStations, blah, blah, blah. So going back to using a joystick, I'm absolutely shocking. So what I've done was I took a NES controller, which you can pick up for about £5, a knackered joystick, and I took the Atari cable off the joystick, done a bit of resoldering inside of the pad. And I even rewired the second button as up, because like a lot of games back in them days, the platform is, instead of pushing up, I can just press the second control button, like the second fire button. So now, although some games, like if it's like Daley Thompson, I'm a waggler, so I need my joystick. It depends on the game. It really does. But if it's a platformer, I always go to me NES controller.
Then it said, what is your favourite gamepad, modern or old?
I like the PS2. For that, well, the PS1 analog. Yeah, the PS1 analog, because for me, that's the reason why I found it difficult to try when I went to Xbox, because it was just like different. That's the reason why I have a nightmare with a Nintendo 64. Like, I just can't use the controller. I'm just like, I'm wired to use.
I cannot stand. I mean, I got that pad off downstairs the other day for the N64. I need to try out. But to me, again, it's going to be GameCube, just because of purely what I had. You know what I mean? It's what I played the most with. Granted,
the GameCube one's decent, I think. Like.
Yeah, but there's redundant buttons on it. Don't get me wrong. There are some buttons that you just never use, and the other ones are a little bit awkward. If we're going on to gamepads, then sound systems, what do you think of this pad?
I think whoever designed it had never played a computer game.
Hang on. Which way around does it go? Is it this way? Is it?
It did have shoulder buttons, all right.
Yeah, it has shoulder buttons. Yeah. But the weird thing is, they only
at the time.
They only press on the sides, not here. So it's like it's a pivot.
Mate, I've had one of them open more than hot dinners. Honestly, if you enjoy the CD32, and I know they're expensive, but go out and get a Honeybee Competition Pro Honeybee controller. There's a guy who used to sell them on eBay, and I think he used to rejig the SNES one. And he used to rejig it to work on a CD32. If you like your CD32, definitely go with that.
Bring it up to the CD32 then, because another failed system that not just failed system, but pretty much brought down the Amiga Commodore.
It was the Amiga 600, man. It was the Amiga 600 that brought down Commodore.
No, but you know what I mean? This is like the end. This is the last one out the factory.
Oh,
you know what I mean? There was nothing else. The reason why I have this, and it took me a very long time to actually get one of these, is, as I said, we always had the Amiga 600. And when I was younger, I was quite ill in hospital for a while. I really was. And as a parent now, I understand what my dad was saying. Is we were looking for the magazines he used to bring in for us, read them, and this was coming out. And he always kept saying to us, when you're better, we'll buy you one of these. And I flicked through the pages. I looked at all the specs, looked at all the games coming out. And obviously, when we got better and all the rest of it, it never happened. And 2 years ago, I finally managed to track one down, fully working, extra laser, couple of games, power supply pad for 150 quid, and I was very happy to pay that.
That's a bargain.
It's even got the disc drive, which I didn't bring out now. But it's got like it sits on the top here.
Is it white?
It's white.
What the fuck?
because it's not an original.
Nah. For me, when
I love it, I absolutely love it. I never thought I'd own one.
I had the 1200, and if you look at where the disc goes in the CD32, they were going to do an add-on for the Amiga 1200.
Oh yes, yeah. Have you seen the one that's actually there's one in the museum, isn't there? Which is like somebody found, and it's like white. Again, it's white, and it's half open. And I'm not sure what they were going to do with it afterwards.
That must have been a prototype, but it was something that you could use CD media on the Amiga 1200. But when I seen that machine, I just wanted one. I thought it looked really cool. Like, I really thought it was nice.
I need to answer this. Al, ever since my Fireside video about the community, the last one I did, the troll seems to have just got fucked off and bored and just left.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's why there's no one. Oh, well. But yeah, you know what? As I said, I really don't care about that. It did bug me to begin with, but if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am now.
My question to you now. You've got an Amiga 1200. Have you got 1200?
I have, yeah.
Or
I've got
Do you enjoy playing the CD32?
The CD32 for me is more nostalgia of owning it. The 1200 is what I use all the time.
Same.
For me, the CD32 was that dream console that when I was in the hospital, I always dreamt about getting. And years went by, never got one, everything else. And I think it was last year, and I just decided I'm going to get one. Yeah, one came up really cheap, and
that was the same for me. I got one. It had a couple of issues. I sorted out the issues, and then in the end, I was like, it's not getting used. And I had exactly the same games on my Amiga 1200, and it's right now sat in the London Computer Museum. I sold it to them. It was an absolutely pristine in a box. It was beautiful, and I think I got 300 quid for it. But I don't even want. I've not looked at them because I purposely don't look because I know I'll be tempted. I've got no idea how much it would be worth now.
Yeah, it's just weird. There was a comment here saying like the CD32 never made it out of Europe, did it? So it never made it across to the US.
Well, what I heard was there was a lot of stock went over there.
Yeah, but they couldn't sell it because
they owed money or something. So
yeah.
they kind of like put a hold on the stock and just kept it there. Honestly, somewhere there's a warehouse with a shitload of these things in. There's got to be.
Yeah. Do you know what? It pains me
that
the Angry Video Game Nerd, and this is before I owned one myself, the Angry Video Game Nerd destroyed one. Working or not, he actually burnt one. And yeah, I couldn't watch it. It really, really did annoy me that. Because at the time I was searching for one.
That's a shame. It's a shame. It's a decent console, but you just need so many add-ons and stuff like that to make it any good. I give up on it in the end.
Yeah,
I did.
Well, with me, the Amigas, I've got a 500, 500 plus, 600, 1200, and the CD32.
Yeah, so, I've got a photo.
I'm happy with them,
with all of them. But I mean, that was about 2 or 3 years ago, and you kind of reevaluate what you want to do. And because I wanted to branch out and try like Sega, Nintendo, like 3DO, all that.
Because you now are buying more things. Sega or Nintendo now, not from your childhood. What would you go for now? What have you got?
Well, I've got a Switch, more nostalgia. So I've got to go with a Nintendo. I mean, don't get us wrong. My most nostalgic game on either system is the Ninja for the Sega Master System. It was
have you completed that yet?
Not yet, but I'm getting closer. My dad completed it. My dad, I was off school for a couple of weeks with, I think it was German measles or something like that. And my dad he got a Sega Master System. He borrowed it from his mate so that I could play it and stuff while I was off school. And we had the Ninja. We only had that in like Super Tennis or something like that. And
I like a tennis game.
And my dad, he actually completed it, and I tried. And you've seen how bad I am at games. So
it can't be as bad as me.
Oh, I don't know.
You know, the weird thing is, I'm getting an acquired taste for this now.
But I've been practicing, and I do want to start a challenge, a high score challenge for the Last Ninja, because I don't think it gets as much recognition as what it deserves. For an 8-bit, I mean, the Master System was I love the Master System, but I think the NES had a better library of games. And then you had the Mega Drive come out well before the SNES. And anyone who's trying to compare SNES and a Mega Drive, it's difficult. It's like, for me, it's like a PS1 and a Dreamcast. Do you know what I mean? There's like the same amount of time between them. The Mega Drive done well to keep going for as long as what it did.
I think once they started sticking all the add-ons and everything onto the Mega Drive, I think that was like, just as I say, life supporting it really for it.
Totally. So to answer the question, nostalgia-wise, it would be Sega, just for the Master System.
Yeah.
But overall, obviously Nintendo is still here, and I've got a Nintendo Switch, and I absolutely love it.
It's actually quite difficult because as much as it is the GameCube and Nintendo and the kids have the Switch and all that, I have really, really good memories with my brother buying a Dreamcast and playing Sonic Adventure.
Dreamcast is awesome, man.
Yeah, really a very underrated system.
I can't believe. Honestly, I'd never played one until last year. Never played one.
We've got Chris here asking, are we related? No, we are not.
That's me, Neil. I mean, am I
So-
ginger?
hang on.
Some of this is down to him.
I'll comb some of this over for you. Hang on.
It's all right. When I got the Spectrum, there was some hair in there. I was like, yay! I've got DNA evidence. I'll leave this at the scene of the crime.
Yeah, as Pod has mentioned before, my hair seems to get everywhere. So, here is great music on The Last Ninja. Bear is saying that.
Yeah, the Ninja's good. And, you know the Last Ninja remix. They had to change the music from Last Ninja 2, or was it Last Ninja 2, because the guy who wrote all the music, he'd been sacked and he'd done one or whatever, so that's why they had to redo all the music for Last Ninja. I'm pretty sure anyway.
It is a hard Chronosoft. That's Simon from Chronosoft. You know, he's you know that company, don't you, for the homebrew games?
Yeah.
Chronosoft. Well, honestly, it's just some amazing games, mate. You really do. So right.
Homebrew is just fantastic at the minute.
What have we got? Yeah, let's go with that one then. Where have I put these questions? Let me find one down the side here. I've lost it now. There it is. What is your favourite homebrew game? And that's be a Chronosoft one now because he's listening.
Well, for me, this is probably going to surprise quite a few people. But my favourite homebrew game at this moment in time is not a Commodore 64 game.
What is it then? Go on.
It's Aliens. It's Aliens. Oh, it was so nearly Ooze. Ooze is absolutely.
It is a good game.
Oh my god, it is.
Calm down. You get to ooze yourself.
It's Aliens Neoplasma by the Sanchez crew for the Spectrum. The Spectrum 128. Only working on 128. The music is excellent. It's Aliens, which I'm a huge fan of the Alien universe. And remember the Aliens games? How it used to be like Against the Clock and Solid.
The Alien one I remember again was on the Amstrad, and it was like it was the atmosphere you had of like the music was changing as you walked around, and you know it's
Aliens Neoplasma. But I am honestly, I'm really enjoying.
I'm sure I have that one, but I'm not 100% sure.
There's a few different releases of it. How is it? Guillermo Colina is the lad who does the Toposoft.
From
Spain. Yeah,
that's the one. I've got that one.
Yeah, they've just released a few, and it was on there.
It's really difficult for me to pick one homebrew game because they've generally got so many now.
Oh,
but Monument games. Yeah,
you put me on that,
it's a strange addiction, isn't it? Really, but the Monument games are really quite good as well. I mean, I've got quite a few of them. And I think what's really weird about the Monument games is some of them were done in such low numbers or are not made anymore that they're collector's items in their own right, even though they're homebrew games. You know what I mean? So I've seen, I've got is it Cray 15 or Cray, whatever it is, Cray 5. And I've seen the version that I've got sell for like 150 quid on eBay, and it's a homebrew game. So luckily, I picked mine up for 40 quid about 2 years ago. So
I really enjoyed homebrew. Out of the two, it's very
Old
difficult
Tower.
to choose between
Old
Spectrum
Tower. Have you
and
not
Commodore.
played that one? Old Tower is really good on the Spectrum because the speed of it, like the sprites are really small, but the speed these move around the actual screen is amazing. It really is. So
if there's only one thing about homebrew which is frustrating for me at the minute, and
what's that?
It's the lack of Amstrad. Like there's a few.
There's a few.
One you told me about one, and I went straight there to buy it, and it was sold out. So I still haven't got it.
There's that football one, isn't there? I'm not sure which is that on Bitmap. But it looks like sensible soccer.
It does, and do you know, as good as it might be,
it's still a football game.
What any of the 8-bit systems were horrific at is football games.
Yeah.
Or soccer for you guys watching across the pond. Nah, they're not great. They're not.
I got a question for you here.
Oh, it's not classed as days. It's got to be months and months and months. I had to reset my GCSEs because of Championship Manager.
So that's what you're going to blame
my
everything
friend
on.
Neil
Then.
used to play that a lot, like a lot. That's probably the reason why I never had a Sega or a Nintendo, because I was totally addicted to football manager games. He used to be manager of Crew, and I think he took them to European champions. Do you know what I mean? And like,
Yeah,
I loved statistics, formations, buying players. And after like 15 or 20 years, you start generating your own players. And by which point, you've just totally lost track of everything to do with football. And too much
here's
time.
Question from Nerdy Geezer: what system do you think had the best sound?
Oh, 16-bit?
Yeah, 16-bit. See, because I would easily go Amiga.
The Amiga had a very distinct sound.
Yeah,
it did.
Although
I quite like the Mega Drive, I must admit. Like when it comes to 16-bit,
the Mega Drive has definitely got more of a rock vibe to it, though, isn't it? And more of a metal. But the reason why I say that about the music on the Amiga is because just the intro, not the intro, the music on Pinball Dreams. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's so good. It really is. When you hear that logo come up.
When it comes to the 16-bit, I don't feel music is as nostalgic as what I do for the 8-bit systems. So, like, if you ask me what was the tune of this song on the Amiga, I would definitely struggle. Even though, well, apart from one, which is obviously the Chaos Engine, which is the best soundtrack on the Amiga.
Okay, I wouldn't say that's the best because I generally Cannon Fodder, the music on Cannon Fodder.
Oh yes, yeah. Do you know what
I mean?
Right, scratch the Mega Drive. It's the Amiga. Although those games
easily swayed.
I think. I think those games they're probably ported to the Amiga, to the Mega Drive. I'm pretty sure, but. That's a real difficult question for this. For the 16-bit
Nerdy Geezer says Shadow of the Beast on the Amiga compared to the Mega Drive. There's no comparison. Have you finished your pint of wine?
I have. Well, yeah. It's okay. My wife's watching, so she might come down and do as a top up, but then she might not.
She's heard you know.
She'll be watching something about snakes by now.
Hang on. There we go. There's Mr. Bear saying the ST sounded like. Do you know what? You read them out. Me being dyslexic. Do you know the worst thing for being
the ST sounded like a harmonica at times.
Yeah,
it was more 8-bit than 16-bit, which for me I can't answer that, but I know you could.
Right, I did going off that now, but do you know the whole reading of the thing is I can read that fine, but when it comes to reading out loud to other people, my brain just stops. So. It's a weird thing being dyslexic because I can read them. They're going into my head, but it's linked from the head to my mouth. Doesn't want to come out.
You click them, I'll read them.
Yeah. That's just how it is. I mean, I have no trouble with being dyslexic. People have took my piss all the whole life, but yeah, it's all good.
I did hear. I always thought that there was a certain Atari that they did use to make loads and loads of like current music at the time. Obviously, it wasn't the Atari ST.
It's the Atari ST. No, the reason why the Atari ST was used is because it's got MIDI out.
Really?
Yeah, that's why it's still used. I mean, Fatboy Slim and stuff like that still use them.
Yeah, honestly, I read about it big news, but then a lot of people absolutely slag it off so much. There's so many people out there that the Commodore 64 had a better sound chip than what the Atari ST did. And I'm like, really? Because at the end of the day, like when the Atari ST was released, Tremel, who founded Commodore, he was in charge of Atari at the time, or he'd been taken on by Atari to release that. You know.
Hang on, I need to stop you guys a second because we have a visitor. Here's Oscar.
Hey, Oscar. Happy birthday for this week, dude.
Hang on. Oh, you can hear him now.
Happy birthday for this week.
How old are you going to be?
8.
My lucky number.
All right. You just off to bed now. You can say bye to everyone.
Bye.
All right. Give me a hug. Go on. See you later.
Oh, that's nice.
Right. What's that, Oscar? Oh, because I just needed it off. Sorry, he was popping in to say goodnight.
You don't have to be sorry, mate. Real life comes first.
Go on then, Oscar. Good night. Oscar, can you shut the door?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah,
I don't think any of them shut the door.
Right. Anyway, let's have a quick look at these comments down here. If there's any questions and stuff. Batman the movie. Driving section music was awesome.
Yeah, what was that on? Was that on the CD32 or was that on the normal?
I know. Was it Terminator on the CD32? It was absolutely amazing music.
I can't remember it. I really don't. See, my knowledge is proper limited when it comes to Sega and Nintendo.
Yes, he has played Oscar on the Amiga. I've got Oscar for the Amiga CD32. A mate of mine sent me.
Was it a lion in that or something? Was it a lion?
I can't remember now. It's a bit of a weird character, isn't it?
Oscar the Lion or something. I'm sure it was something like that. Name rings a bell, though. Oh, has Oscar played Oscar, right?
Yeah. Did they use the Amiga to create the Babylon 5 TV show?
I heard that is true, and I also heard it was an Amiga was used for the Starship Next Generation for the Enterprise.
I still love how they made the intro sound for the PlayStation 2, dropping that piano off a roof.
Is that what it was?
That's what they did. Do you know you got that noise when it sounds like all the notes going all over the place? It's because they dropped the piano off the roof. There's actually a clip of it.
Did you know? I heard the other day that you know when you turn on a PS2 and you get all like the
yes,
like the silver cubes and stuff. And
Paul, I think you forget that me and you are in the same chats.
I know. But do you know what? I've been checking this week and it's true because I wiped them.
Yeah,
there was no.
Have you tried the GameCube one yet though? The GameCube where you put different pads in different sockets and hold the Z button, you get 4 different intro musics.
Oh no, not at all. But I will do. I will get there. But yeah, I've got that much to work my way through. Being recently made unemployed, I've got a lot more time to catch up on stuff that I've been doing. You might have probably noticed that I've probably been pumping out quite a few videos.
Do you know what?
I've just got more time.
I've forgotten a system. Again, we were supposed to be talking about failed consoles.
Oh, shit, yeah. That's
the Atari Jaguar has got to be up there with an absolute hype to death, but was absolutely crap.
I can't believe you forgot you had it.
I had to dust it off, seriously. I mean, I've even got the skunk card for it, which, like, so I haven't even going to buy. Basically, it's like a flash card for it that goes in,
all right,
and you can link it up to your computer and just play your game. You know what I mean? It flashes 2 games to it. And does anybody? Hang on, got my earphone out. Anyone in the comments? Does anyone actually like the Atari Jaguar pad?
That's different to the one I seen last time. There must be another one, right?
There's 2 pads. There's a 6 button and a 3 button one. I'm not sure if there's any others from that, but I know for a fact the 6 button one goes for silly money. But there's only like 2 games or 1 game that supports the 6 buttons.
Can I leave you for like 30 seconds?
You can. Hang on. Let me just put you down here. Yeah, Paul's gone for 30 seconds. I don't know what he's trying to do, but anyway, people in the comments, have you ever had or do you own an Atari Jaguar? Did you have one back in the day? What game did you use to play on it? And the pad. What do you actually think of the pad? Me personally, I think it's coming from having like the ColecoVision and stuff like that. I don't think it's actually that bad. It's just the angle. A little bit weird. Oh, hang on. You would like to know why he left? Why did you leave, Paul? Caught you at it.
Well, it just so happens that 2 of these is a bottle of wine. And it just saves having to go backwards and forwards.
I can see you down here and I can just see you pouring away. I thought, I'm going to catch you out of that. Right.
It's good to be back.
Yes. What we got down here? Wonder when the Atari Jaguar would get a mention. I mean, we can't really talk about failed systems without talking. Do you actually think? See, the weird thing is, a lot of them, the rest of them, was like, if the marketing was better, it would have been a better system. Do you think the Atari Jaguar was just hyped up too much, and was that why it's a flop? Yeah.
No. I just think
it was just bad.
I just think there was better systems out at the same time,
Chronosoft saying the Atari Jaguar pad isn't that bad.
I just think there was better systems out, more affordable, more games. Don't get us wrong. I'd absolutely love to. I'd love to own one. I'd like to see what all the fuss is about. I've never played one.
I have to say a big thank you to Paul Smallman, who actually sent me this for free with the flash drive in it. I am actually blown away that he sent it to me. Never thought I'd own one. Granted, I think it's another one where it looks amazing. It really does. I mean, I also love the fact that they use this design in dentist equipment. They use the shit. Yeah, you'll see it if you go online. You'll see shells of this that they're white and they've got like dentist equipment hanging off it. Because what they did is they sold the actual shell design to another company that reused it in medical equipment.
Wow, I mean, you talk about random facts. Every day, every day's a learning day.
So, right, what we got down here?
Well, there is one more thing I wanted to show.
Drinking from a Stella glass, nice and classy.
Yes.
I don't know what you did though, but your signal was breaking up before, but now it's gone a lot clearer since you've left and come back.
I've just refilled, basically. That's it.
No, I'm not talking about the signal.
Yes,
Aliens and Aliens on the Jaguar was awesome.
Well, can I just say, Aliens on the Jaguar is the reason why I would love to have a Jaguar.
It's good though that you can play
just for a short time.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever seen one of these?
Go on then. Earlier on, you said you didn't know much about it. So come on, what did you read up about?
Oh, I didn't.
Give me some facts.
Right. The fact is, this is the heaviest console you will ever have felt in your life. This is the PSX, only released in Japan. And this thing weighs an absolute ton. Look at all that on the back there, man. It's got,
so what could you actually do with it? What was special?
You could play, you could watch TV, you could record HD, you could record in HD on I don't even know if it was Blu-ray or no, it can't be Blu-ray because it's essentially a PlayStation 2 that's backwards compatible to PlayStation 1, but you could also plug it into your TV, and you could record programs from the TV onto the hard drive. It was a DVD player, but the only problem is when you start up the PSX, it loads some information from the hard drive, and if that hard drive's knackered, the PSX will not work. And
so it's yours the same.
I don't know. I need a step down transformer to be able to power it up.
Do you know what that reminds me of though? Not the same hard drive thing, but it reminds me of the CDI. I mean, I don't think you can class the CDI as a failed system, but I think you can class it as a bad system because it's not failed because it had so many different. I've got love for the CDI. I really have. I bought one at a car boot sale when I was a kid.
Controller though.
Oh, we had the spoon controller. That was terrible.
Nasty.
But that's got the same problem where they decided to put the internal battery inside one of the chips. So if the internal battery dies, it goes in a continuous loop, and the only way you can get it out is with a Dremel and Dremel off half of one of the chips.
Nice.
So
nice. Yeah, I mean, I've been looking for a second-hand PlayStation 2 hard drive because PlayStation 2 hard drives, if I chuck one of them in there, it'll work no bother. But
really,
we're talking 20 years now. I mean, how many hard drives? 40 gigabyte drives.
I've seen one.
There's very, very few, which is a shame.
I'm going for a raspberry milkshake ale.
Well, I can actually show you what I'm drinking now, guys.
You can say, why don't you just drink it with a straw?
Because the straw's not big enough. But it's got to be a Rioja.
No Buckfast then.
Love Spanish Red. It's just the best.
No Buckfast.
Buckfast miss you fuck fast, but no, none of that up here. I've only ever tried it a couple of times, but it's not that bad. It's got.
You know what? I don't think I've ever tried Buckfast.
Yeah, just don't drink at the end of the bottle because you get all the Well, I don't know what it is, but you just don't want to be drinking it at the end. Yeah. Don't be last. Right, while we're on 3DO, what's your thoughts on the 3DO?
Never played one. Next.
Well, I did.
Generally never played one, never even played one at a convention.
I wanted one, and I'd wanted one for a long time since it came out, because back in the day, I thought FMV was the way ahead. Oh,
this needs to be drank.
This
needs to be drank in the summer. This is a festival beer. This has just made me think of going, drinking an ale on a festival, sitting in a field.
Oh, if only. I missed out on Guns N' Roses last year. Devastated. And this year. It's not going to happen this year either.
So, yeah, what were you talking about?
The 3DO, I'd wanted one for ages and ages and ages. And when I got one, it was those rose-tinted spectacles. Honestly, when I got it, it just wasn't what I was hoping it was. Road Rash was superb. Don't get me wrong. Road Rash is, if you love Road Rash,
I think Road Rash is good. Road Rash on the Master System surprised me how well that plays.
Oh, I can't remember. Well, I mean, you sold me my Master System, and it's got Hang On. Like when you first turn it on. Have you
remember the hidden game in it as well?
What?
Don't you know about the hidden game?
No.
when you load it up, I'm not sure if you press like the A or B button and left or right. There's a code anyway on pair up, and it'll load up the Sega's logo, and then it will move to the left, and you'll get a snail game that's hidden on the system.
I think I've heard of it, but I didn't. So I can get that on that system.
Yeah, Master System ones have a hidden snail game on them.
Oh, brilliant! Do you know what? Like originally, like we had the Master System 2, but for me, the Master System 1, it just screams out 80s for me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So it's just I loved it.
Master System 2 has got nothing on the looks.
So thanks again for selling us up, by the way. It has been well.
I'm glad you finally got a pad you can actually use for it there now.
Well, I haven't. That's the thing.
Is it not? Is it not working?
Fire button 2 stopped working again. So I'm back to the joystick. Oh, mate, that joystick. As I said in the last video, normally when you use a joypad, you're like this. This hand uses, this is directional, this is fire button, but on the joypad, it's the other way around. You've got to control it and then use the other hand for your fire buttons. And for me, it's completely alien. It's backwards to what I'm used to. So I'm absolutely shit at it. That's my excuse anyway. And I'm that's your excuse. The weird thing is, though, didn't they change that around? It was just an easier way to make games harder. Oh. So, right, anyway, let's get on with another question here. What would you like to add in your collection in 2021? If you could add a couple of systems, or are you done with collecting? Are you happy with what you got? I know you're never happy with what you got. Yeah, I'd like a Jaguar. I'd like to try the Jaguar out. I would. I would be interested in seeing what's like, even if it was just for a month and then sold it on or whatever. But I've never had a Jaguar. I've never played one. I'd be really interested in grabbing one of those. The system that I did want this year, and although it's retro themed, it's not an old console.
Right.
But it's this.
The Evercade. Oh, I did. I I've 3D printed downstairs off a stand for the Evercade. So if you want one, let me know, and I can 3D print you off. I know we can't say it online, but how would the 3D print things that I sent you the other day, are they working all right?
I haven't found any issues so far. It's been tested.
All good.
In fact, one of them is superb. Can we just say it? Superb.
It's all good.
But do you know what? That's my answer. If there was something I could buy this year, it would probably be a 3D printer. Because although it's not retro game related, it is.
It's so easy. Yeah, it's so easy. I mean, at the moment, I'm printing off a couple of Game Boy stands, and it's great because it's just like, But the thing is, if you're going to get one, I got a Delta Q5, which is the smaller version of the there's another Delta, like twice the size. It's really compact. It sits in the corner. I've
already looked at it on eBay.
Yeah. But the other ones where the other ones that aren't deltas, you have to put it together yourself. Whereas this one, that the legs and all the mechanism are all pre-made. So literally, I'm bolting the top, the bottom, and the 3 legs aren't, and done. And it runs amazing. Some of the stuff I've been printing.
I must say, like the stuff that you've sent is it's flawless. It really is. We made Brian Fled. He's printed me out a couple of things here and there, and they've been really, really good as well.
What do you guys think in the comments about the Evercade? Is it worth buying? Or thing is, I know you've got an Evercade and you really like it. I've got that G Pi sort of Game Boy thing, so that really does enough for me. But it would be nice now that they're coming out with like an Intellivision collection and stuff like that.
There's also, I've heard there's an Amiga collection coming soon.
Really, saying that about the Amiga, have you heard that there's teasing an Amiga Mini? Like
I've
same
seen
people
that.
doing the Commodore 64 minis and stuff like that. If they come out with an Amiga Mini that can go into HDMI and everything else, definitely I'll be all over that. Nerdy Geezer, loving the Evercade.
It would. Well, can I just say, Nerdy Geezer and Ink Northerner and my friend Super Jim Tendo, if it wasn't for their input, I would never have got the Evercade. But I've been watching their videos. I actually searched for Evercade videos and reviews, and that's how I found Ink Northerner. That's when I started following before he'd been nominated for the.
Here's the thing though with that is they know exactly what they're doing, numbering all the boxes. They know the collectors are just going to go, oh, there's another one out. I don't want to play the games, but I'll have a gap.
I'm not going down that road. I'm not. Although I did look at Namco 1 today.
You will. You will. You'll end up buying them all.
It was tempting. But, I bought the Oliver Twins selection because I do enjoy a bit of Dizzy. Sorry, Dave. If you
don't like Dizzy. I do not like Dizzy.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was if you can get over the egg and all that, it's a good adventure. It takes up time, which is what I wanted.
The manuals as well. They know what they're doing. Things don't have manuals anymore.
No. And I also got the Pico collection, which I thought was.
Let's answer this
awesome.
One. At the moment, there's not much talk about the Amiga Mini. There's just teaser pictures with the
there was a few, wasn't there?
It's just a couple of teasers at the moment, so there may be one coming out. There may not. It looks to me like an Amiga 500. It really does in the pictures. So
it's about this big, even though it's a mini, because they're massive.
Danny, no, you're not the only one because I'm not too fussed over it. I understand why people collect it. It's absolutely fine, but just not. I don't think it's for me.
For me, it's. I don't know. I just think it's a cool piece of kit. I just like it.
Yeah.
You know, I've been.
How's the D-pad on it?
I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. Although this is my second one. The first one, the battery was completely knackered on it. As soon as you unplugged it, it just died. So it took me
I have heard a couple of things like that. But then again, if you're talking about things that are breaking at the moment, if you do get a Oculus Quest 2, do not get the Pro strap because the straps are the straps are snapping. They're 50 quid for the strap.
Print something off for yourself?
No, that's just more of like a cap for the back. But these ones are solid, like plastic that go round and at the back and like a screw. But what's happening is they're getting fractures and like they're just dropping off. And the problem is people are having it drop off in game and the whole system hits the floor. But I wouldn't mind. But it's 40 quid for the normal one and 100 quid for the battery one. And they're breaking.
But what about if it knacks your system?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that'd be my worry. Do you know what I mean? I mean that's a lot of money. I'm so close to getting one as well.
I would. Do you know? As I said in my last live video, is that the only problem I've got with the Oculus Quest is I can't get off the kids.
Yeah, but do you know? I mean, if it's like the PSVR, just go back to government guidelines. You've got to be over 12 to use it for more than 10 minutes a week. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have constantly. and our kids are like, "Whatevs," and I'm like, "No, here we go." And I'm like, 10 minutes. So, but no, the oldest one's 12. So
so it's like it's go away, Dan.
She enjoys it, like Basically,
I think that's the thing is with them, especially during this lockdown, it's great because they can get to talk to other people. They can actually, they're in, there's a room they go into, rec room, and it's got just lots of games like Holly, what you doing? And she's like, I'm paintballing, you know what I mean? Which goes with lots of other people, so it's a communal thing.
One of the best experiences I've ever had on PSVR was the 2018 World Cup. I'm a massive rugby fan, but every now and again,
did it feel like you were there?
Oh my god! Even when you've got the headphones in and you're in with the crowd, when you move your head, the actual sound is coming from where the fans are singing in the ground.
Yeah.
And one of the best moments was when Spain were playing Portugal. I went behind the goal where Ronaldo took a free kick. I think it was to go 3-2 up. And it was literally like you were there. I mean, for me, that is the future of VR. Like, when it can put you into a
on a completely different thing, whatever.
Or a
it's
game.
really helped with people I support and stuff like that. It's because they can't go out and see things like that. Taking the VR and letting them go and just experience somewhere else. Going down a different route. It's amazing.
You can go onto YouTube
with dementia,
and you can go on a roller coaster.
Yeah. Somebody with dementia, if you can put something on and you can show them a video of like the seaside they used to visit, it's not just good before their memory's better, only for a short period of time, but it's such an amazing device, and I think it genuinely is like the way forward. Granted, everyone's going to say, oh, it's going to be like Ready Player One or whatever, and everyone's stuck in a VR reality, but it's got its uses.
Yeah, I mean, like,
it really has.
Don't get me wrong, like Resident Evil is probably my favorite series of games, and even though you've got Resident Evil 7 on VR, it's probably the least of all the Resident Evil games I've played. Like, I don't know, it's good, but you've still got that detachment when you're playing looking at a screen, whereas when you're inside the game, it kind of plays with what's going on inside your brain. And
missed a question here, and I know you've already said what your one was, or was yours the Commodore 64 GS?
No, it wasn't.
Was it not? What was your favourite? What was your best find you've ever had?
My best find,
because I've got mine. I've got mine tattooed on my body.
my best find ever was a Lethal Weapon on the Commodore 64 for £11.
Okay.
That's it.
That's going to annoy quite a few Commodore collectors who are going for that.
The worst thing about it was on for 15, and I knocked them down.
You were cheeky
10.
and got an offer.
It was before. It was one of the first games that I managed to get. It was one of the first ones that I got.
It's amazing. It's like you started.
I had no idea if the value. I didn't have the first game I got. The first hit squad I got was Platoon, because that's the first hit squad game that I ever owned originally, and I absolutely love Platoon, and I've played it on the Amstrad and the Spectrum since, and they're all excellent ports. But I always go back to the Commodore 64 one because the music is superb as well, and that was the first hit squad game out of the collection upstairs that I've got that I bought, and maybe 2 or 3 games in, I thought, oh, do you know what? I've bought a few of these now. I wonder how many's in the set. And I had a look, and I thought, oh yeah, that won't be too bad. And then it came up, and I think it was like 14 quid or something like that, and I offered him like 10, and I think he said 11, so I was like, aye, okay. So I got it for 11 quid.
Can you imagine
and do you know what?
Though?
I still gurned a bit about it for paying the extra quid. But
can you imagine how bad you'd feel now if you let it go for an extra quid and the price they go for now?
God, can you imagine? Like,
right, my find
I just don't even know how much it would be.
It was a charity shop in Dudley, and it was a music. Well, not a music shop. There's a charity shop. Yeah, no, it's a charity shop at the bottom, and above it there's a music shop, right? Run by a separate person. And I went up there, and he just had a box of tapes just on the counter. I was flicking through a couple of Spectrum games. So I picked a couple up, said, how much are these? And they went, they're all £1 each. Okay. Took a couple of them home with me. And on the way home, I put a picture up saying, like, oh, I've just got these from a charity shop. And then somebody went, that game in the middle there, I've never heard of that before. And then I said to somebody else, like, have you seen this game? No, I've never heard of that before. Turns out it was a lost game by a company called Dollarsoft, who he went on later on after a couple of games and worked at Firebird. But his company
Oh, yeah, I
that
know
he
them.
used to code in his bedroom was called
Wasn't that like
Dollarsoft.
Telecom or something, Firebird? Wasn't it the same sort of...
Yeah, I'm not sure. But he
Used to do something with
he
BT.
he was making games, coding with his mates. His dad was doing the artwork for them, and locally was going out and just what the people did, distribute them and hopefully get recognised. And this is one of his early games. And
Wow.
I've actually spoke to the guy. I've got to know him, met him a few times at the revival. This game, he's lost his original copy of, and he said there couldn't have been more than 30 copies made, and only
Oh,
about 12
what a
or 15
prize that
sold.
is. Oh,
And
I
it was
mean,
and
that
it was a
weighs
lost
the whole
game.
mine.
So the game now has been saved, so other people can play it. Then the game went up to auction. I think it sold for like 150 quid.
Awesome.
And I then got Paddy tattooed on my arm because never actually did.
Quality, man.
So yeah, that's an amazing find. To be honest, it's why I miss charity shops.
It is.
I miss the hunts.
It is.
You know what I mean? Because I could have quite easily walked past and not seen it. It was £1.
Honestly, what I see you collecting one charity shop is what I would find in Inverness in a year. I go in all of them, and there's just nothing.
I think the thing is, Andre said the same up in Scotland. There's just very little.
Yeah, I mean, he's over in Aberdeen. I hope he's watching tonight as well, by the way. I haven't heard from him for ages. Like, I hope he's doing okay.
I spoke to him this morning. He's all right.
Oh,
He's snowed in.
Oh, well, I'm not surprised.
About 2 foot of snow outside.
So my cat's rubbing the stand here for the...
Anyway, we've got to the hour and a half mark, so I think we'll probably wrap this up now.
Still going, man. Still going.
So so that's it. We didn't really talk very much about file systems. We just ended up rabbiting on. It's pretty much how it goes. So what's your favourite file system then? If you can pick one.
Well, if the Vectrex is classed as a field,
yeah,
then,
that's classic.
Although I've only had it for since Christmas, it's got to be the Vectrex. I've never found a system that I've enjoyed so much within such a short space of time and found such an affinity with. I absolutely think it's just superb. If anyone out there is into the retro gaming, you absolutely must try the Vectrex. You will
try it. Yeah, I think it's out of most
disappointed.
People's price range nowadays. Though, isn't it? That's a problem.
I think I paid 200 quid for mine.
Yeah.
I
think mine was 150. Mine was. I played it at the revival, and it was like, got to get one of them.
Yeah,
but the thing is with me,
they're awesome. Like,
I collect on a budget, so the only way I can buy new stuff is if I sell other things. So I sold a load of stuff that I don't feel guilty about buying something that's expensive. So for me, it has to be the GX 4000, just purely for the nostalgia reasons and everything else. I mean, I still remember my mom playing Burning Rubber, and my dad recording it on the VHS. You know what I mean? To prepare lap times. So, and I think at one point he walled it into the next room so we could watch her play but not disturb her.
So would that be out of everything, would that be your most nostalgic system?
Yes. Without a doubt. I mean, even down to the fact that we only had it for a short period of time, and I still even remember the day that it blew up in the living room. You know what I mean? So when my dad opened it up, and you just saw like a little puff of smoke on it, and but yeah, for the memories and for a short period of time we had 3 games for it, and one of them was a shooting game, and the other one was Barbarian. You know, where you got awful to control. Is it Barbarian 2?
Aye. Yeah, you still have, is that not the one with what's he called from
Wolf?
Oh, yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking of.
From Gladiators.
So here's a question for you before we go.
Yeah.
Most prized possession. Because I've had a look at your collection of consoles and micros, puts a lot of people to shame, including mine. You've got a fantastic collection, Si. I love seeing it. I love when you get stuff out and you talk about it, and that it's from the heart. What is your most prized retro gaming? Let me. I think I might be able to guess what it is. I'm going to go.
You know what it is because I mentioned it before.
I'm going to go for the GameCube.
No, it's not at
Really?
all. Not even close. Not even close.
What?
Right? It is a single bootleg cartridge that I own, and it's the only thing I've got left for the system. Is we used to go to Compton Hospice. This is where the love of charity shops come from. Compton Hospice, right? We used to go
that
with
was
my
in like
nan.
LA or somewhere.
No. Every Saturday we used to go to Compton Hospice with my nan when we were around there. And the one time I found, which I've later found out was a Famiclone. It wasn't a Famicom, and it had about 12 games in it, and it was a box system. We got that and we played, loved the games. And there was a cartridge in it. It was the Flintstones. And I know I've mentioned it before, and people are going to laugh at me and everything else because I always bring up Flintstones. But
Doesn't
Flintstones
matter.
on this is the most prized possession because we had so many good memories of it. And that system, console, everything, all the games got lost. And when my parents moved house and we lifted up their bed, sitting there on the floor was that one copy of the Flintstones just left there. So I still have that copy
I
of that
bet you do.
Flintstones. It's a blue bootleg cartridge with the labels not on straight. It's got ink on the back because somebody left a pen on it, but it's the most prized thing that I own in my collection. I would never. It's up there with the cartridge of Burning Rubber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the cart. You know, as manky as it is, this is the memories are on here. So yeah, now my cat wants to go out.
Mine just keeps annoying me. Well, for me,
what's yours?
It took me years to find a decent example, but I've got a silver label Commodore 64, and it's for a Commodore 64 fan to get a silver label. It's not the original motherboard. I mean, it is a silver label. It's registered, etc. But yeah, it's my Commodore 64 silver label. I get it out twice a year. I run it up. I'll do a video and make sure she works. She goes back in a box. She gets put up, and I just leave her alone. I don't want to work that girl.
So it's nice, isn't it? Like you can have the most expensive things in the world, but it's the nostalgia and the memories and everything that come with it that make things more important.
It's just like I've always heard about the silver label, and I've never seen one. The NTSC ones are different. They've got like a metal kind of label, whereas the European, they've got like a paper one, which is a lot more brittle. So, there's your cat.
Yeah.
So it's got to be looked after a lot better. Sorry, Danny. Thanks for watching, mate. Have a good time at work. I'll speak to you tomorrow. But yeah, it's my silver label.
Right.
Yes, I can. You ready?
And you know what? That's probably going to be a great place to finish this one on. Because the lasting memories of you just making a tit of yourself.
Well, what's new? It's been fun. It's been fun.
Do you know, it's been aggressive. We didn't talk as much about stuff. We just ended up rambling. But you know what? Isn't that what we normally do anyway?
I mean, we should probably tell everyone that probably for about 20 minutes before we started doing this stream, we ended up just talking, and it was like, shit, right, we need to stop because we need to put this actually in the stream.
It's all good fun. Well, hopefully I'm trying to do a couple more of these in the future. Maybe the next one with a couple of people on at once. So, yeah, it's been great. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
I shall.
You know, you're going to be up early in the morning for work.
No, not anymore.
You're enjoying that.
I'm off to the shed next.
Off to the shed.
You know.
Yeah, I know. All right, dude. Honestly, thanks for coming on, and good luck, YouTuber of the month. Everyone,
well, do you know what? It's not all about winning. It's about the taking part. And do you know what? I'm just really happy. Like since I started the channel and coming to where we are now, I do it because I enjoy it. And
exactly. I think there's a lot of us all started at the same time, isn't it? And we all started it for one reason. I started it to help with anxiety, but it's done a hell of a lot more for me. I mean, I couldn't imagine 6 months ago sitting here doing this live with people watching and everything else. So
for me, the retro gaming community is the best. Honestly, I've made in the last 9 months, I've made so many friends, so many new people that I know, people that I used to watch like this. I can speak to as a friend, and it's just amazing. It really is. Like, all I can say to anyone who's watching who doesn't do this, like, give it a go, give it a try, because like you don't know how good that you could be at doing this. And
I mean,
I love watching loads of channels.
I started with my phone stuck to a piece of wood. You know what I mean? There was no tripod or nothing.
It shows.
If you got something, yeah, it still shows now. My style's always going to be the same. You know that. I'll do one take and that's it. You do all the fancy stuff. I'll just talk.
Well, I don't know about fancy.
Talk,
I mean,
talk, leave mistakes in, and then just stick my intro at the beginning. That's all I need to do.
Whatever you're doing, Si, it's obviously working because you've got a lot of dedicated followers. You've got a lot of dedicated people who enjoy your content, and like
Delusional
I think each one of us does different content. Who's been nominated, and we're all different at doing different things. But I've spoke to you. I've spoke to the other three guys. And you know what? They're all really, really nice people.
Oh, there's Zoe finally been allowed to come on the stream.
Oh, did the wife let you come on? Tell her that I'm definitely going to catch up. I'm definitely going to catch up with some of your Star Wars stuff because after seeing it tonight on the link that you sent on Twitter, like it looks really, really good. So yeah, definitely check out her Star Wars cartoon. It looks amazing. It really does. Definitely going to check it out.
Right, we're going to leave this now because otherwise we will just start talking and it'll be another
I know. Should we just do all 10?
Right, dude. I shall speak to you later. I'll probably speak to you in 5 minutes, to be honest, after the stream's finished.
No worries. I'll go get more
Normally
wine.
Do. Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming on, and I will speak to you again soon.
Spot on, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye. Right, that was Paul. Random ramble. That's normally what we do, really, isn't it, around here? We start off with one plan, but it ends up being something else. So, just quickly before we go, what is your file system? Which ones do you like? Which ones do you not like? Which ones would you like to own? But the problem is with file system is normally they're quite expensive, and the games of them go for silly money. But good thing with a lot of them, like the CD32 and the rest of it, is you can actually burn the games on them, and things like the Atari Max and stuff like that. So, right, guys, I will catch you all again next time. I've got finished this rhubarb beer, and I've got one more. So, thanks everyone for watching, and I will catch you all again soon. Bye.